The title of today's topic is The Protection of Human Rights of Women Prisoners. Let us have some introduction. Prisons serve the same purpose for women as they do for men. The main purpose of prison is to protect society from criminals who intend to harm innocent people. The Constitution of India guarantees equality to women, and various laws have been enacted to protect and empower women. While some women have definitely benefited from these provisions, for the majority of poor and illiterate women, life still remains a struggle in a very traditional, patriarchal and feudal society. The total number of women prisoners was 16,951, and women constituted 4.4% of the total prison population of the country at the end of 2012. Although women still constitute a small minority in the prison population, prison environment do not cater to the special needs of women prisoners. Most of the women inmates had experienced economic hardship and other adversity in their life, and they were physically or sexually abused before their admission to prison. Women prisoners are more vulnerable for gender discrimination, neglect, violence, physical and sexual abuse. Mental health care and attention to the psychological distress that results because of imprisonment is almost non-existent. Imprisonment impacted their health negatively. Women are denied essential medical facilities and treatments, especially during pregnancy. Women prisoners suffer menstrual disorder, stress, and depression. While some women reel under the pain caused by the separation from their children, others live with deep sense of the loss and the guilt of keeping them inside prison. Now coming to constitutional protection of women prisoners. Constitution of India does not provide specific guarantee to the women prisoners. However, the Constitution gives equal status to the women at par with men. Constitution of India under Article 14 guarantees equal protection of laws to women, and Article 15 prohibits the discrimination on grounds of sex. It also imposes obligation on the state to protect rights and to fulfill the requirements of international conventions regarding the rights of women. Article 21 of the Constitution guarantees the fundamental right to live a dignified, secure life to all, which includes the women prisoners. In an attempt to promote and protect human rights, Parliament passed the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, and to effectuate this cherished goal, the National Human Rights Commission was also constituted. The country has also ratified various international conventions and human rights instruments relating to secure equal rights of women. An important convention ratified by India is the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, in 1993. Article 12, Clause 2 of the Convention provides that state parties shall ensure to women appropriate services in connection with pregnancy, confinement, and post-natal period, granting free services where necessary, as well as adequate nutrition during pregnancy and lactation. Article 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights provides that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person, and Article 5 states that no one shall be subjected to torture, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. Article 6 Clause 1 of the United Nations Covenant on Civil and Political Rights provides that every human being has the inherent right to life, and Article 10 Clause 1 clearly provides that all persons deprived of their liberty shall be treated with humanity and with respect for the inherent dignity of the human person. Standard minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners adopted by the United Nations Congress on the Prevention of Crimes and the Treatment of Offenders, Geneva 1955, provides for separate institution for the female inmates. Various other laws have also been enacted to protect and empower women. Now, let us come to human rights of women prisoners. The Supreme Court of India and High Courts have made very clear in many judgments that prisoners do not lose all human rights. Imprisonment does not reduce a person into animals, and prisoners are entitled to all basic freedoms except those which are curtailed by reason of imprisonment. The Supreme Court, in the case of Sunil Batra versus Delhi Administration 1980, held that whether inside prison or outside, a person shall not be deprived of his guaranteed freedom save by methods right, just, and fair. The rights guaranteed to a male prisoner are available to female prisoners also. The various types of human rights of women prisoners guaranteed under the national and international laws are discussed as under. Number 1, the women prisoners have the right to live separate from male prisoners. In a prison for both men and women, women prisoners shall be kept in separate buildings or separate parts of the same building under the authority of a responsible women officer who shall have the keys of that part of prison. No male member of the staff shall be allowed to enter the women's cell unless accompanied by a woman officer. Women prisoners shall be attended and supervised by women officers only. Number 2, the prison shall have the basic minimum facilities for child delivery as well as for all necessary prenatal and postnatal care and treatment for both mother and the child. Arrangements shall be made wherever practicable for children to be born in a hospital outside the prison. Number 3, when a woman prisoner is found or suspected to be pregnant at the time of her admission or at any time thereafter, the lady medical officer shall report the fact to the superintendent. As soon as possible, arrangements shall be made to get such prisoner medically examined at the female wing of the district government hospital for ascertaining the state of her health, pregnancy, duration of pregnancy, probable date of delivery, and so on. Such women prisoner may be released on bail for the delivery of the child. Number 4, women prisoners shall be allowed to keep their children with them in prison till they attain the age of 6 years. There shall be a creche and a nursery attached to the prison where children of women prisoners will be looked after. Such a child is entitled to food, shelter, medical care, clothing, education, and recreational facilities as a matter of right. Number 5, poor or indigent women prisoners have right to seek free legal aid at the cost of the state government. Number 6, women prisoners have the right to speedy trial. Number 7, women prisoners have the right to have interview with their legal counsel, relatives, and friends. Number 8, vocational trainings in useful trades shall be provided to women prisoners. Now let us see the problem of women prisoners. Traditionally, most of prison inmates are males, and the prison environment is therefore shaped by the needs of males and do not cater to the special needs of women prisoners. Although the Constitution of India, international instruments, as well as other national legislation have guaranteed a number of rights to women prisoners, the pathetic situations of women prisoners who are branded as bad women is not surprising. Women commit crime as a result of family disturbances, domestic violence, economic hardships, and other socio-cultural disadvantages. The human rights and basic needs of women prisoners have not been given due importance. Women in prisons are very much vulnerable in male-centric model of prison system, especially in common jails where men and women both are laws. Women prisoners are facing a number of problems in the prisons. Most of the women inmates had experienced economic hardship and family problems in their lives, and they were physically or sexually abused before their admission to prison. Women prisoners are doubly discriminated when they entered prison. The concept of human rights is totally alien to such women. Imprisonment impacted their health negatively. Women prisoners suffer menstrual disorder, stress, and depression. While some women reel under the pain caused by separation from their children, others live with deep sense of loss and guilt of keeping them inside prison. Women prisoners are facing the problem of overcrowding in prisons. Overcrowding itself is a root cause of many problems such as poor hygienic condition, lack of proper accommodation and recreation, inadequate medical facilities, and exploitation. Most of the women prisoners are also mothers, and their children are staying with them in the prison, which is not a right place for healthy growth of the children. Prison environment affects the growth, survival, and development of the children of prisoners. Another major problem faced by the women prisoners is physical or sexual assault. Custodial rape remains one of the worst forms of torture perpetrated on women by law enforcement agencies, and a number of custodial rapes takes place at regular intervals. Another problem faced by women prisoners is lack of legal services. Poor and illiterate women prisoners were unable to defend themselves and ignorant of the ways and means of securing the benefits of free legal aid, which is a constitutional mandate. Women prisoners are found to suffer from a variety of health problems, and the health facilities available to women in prisons are ill-equipped and lack sufficient resources to adequately test, diagnose, and treat inmates. Most of the prisons do not have permanent gynecologists. The treatment facility for psychological distress that occurs because of imprisonment of women is almost non-existent. Women prisoners thus were subjected to the most humiliating experiences, which robbed them of what little dignity and self-respect they reached the prison with. Now, let us come to conclusion. The needs of women prisoners often differ from their male counterparts. Women need gender-specific facilities for health care, to help them in childbirth, to care for their children in prison, to provide for legal aid, to maintain contact with their dependents outside the prison, and to protect them from possibility of rape and sexual assault. Medical services provided for women prisoners should be of the same quality and standard as those available to the outside community. Women prisoners suffering from mental disorder, anxiety, drug addiction, HIV/AIDS, and sex perversion should get proper medical treatment and psychotherapy. Prison authorities should initiate programs with a view to educate the prisoners about ill effects of drugs and HIV, and to bring awareness about effective preventive measures. The children of women prisoners living in prisons shall be given proper education and recreational facilities. Socio-legal counseling cell or clinic should be set up in its prison. Vocational training in useful trades and occupation shall be provided to women prisoners to enhance their ability to earn livelihood after release. There should be separate prisons for the women prisoners. It is high time that the state should provide suitable arrangements and action-oriented plans for protection, prevention, and promotion of human rights and health care for marginalized imprisoned women. Adequate planning before release, safeguard against prison re-entry, and treatment continuation after release should be adopted. Release of women prisoners on probation is also an important justice delivery mechanism, and courts should prefer it than sending them to prisons. The main goal of imprisonment must be rehabilitation and reformation instead of punishment. Thank you.